1 minute. Huh? अरहंत सिद्ध सुर उपाध्याय साधु सर्व अर्थ के प्रकाशी मांगलिक उपकारी है। तीन को स्वरूप जानी राग ते भई जो भक्ति काय को नमाए स्तुति को उच्चारी है। धन्य धन्य तुम्ही से काज सब आज भयो कर जोरी बारंबार वंदना हमारी है। मंगल कल्याण सुख ऐसो हम चाहते ओ मेरी ऐसी दशा जैसी तुम धारी है। ओ मेरी ऐसी दशा जैसी तुम धारी है। So today is our 6th lecture and hope you have been enjoying the previous lectures, and if you are not able to connect live, you can catch up on recordings also, but you must continue, the main part and the most I would say the most fruitful part is that you continue. So the results will definitely come, and those results will be beyond your imagination. We spend so much time after so many other things which may not be very helpful in our spiritual development, which may not be helpful in terms of our self-development, but these things, these are going to bring you miracles in your life. Okay, so you may feel that nothing is coming, but how sir is telling that miracles will come in our life, but it takes some time, to what we call is creep in or sink in, so it takes some time, but definitely it's going to bring you good results. The ultimate result is that we will all get liberated. Yeah, but before we get liberated, there will be some in between some stations, like getting an omniscience knowledge, and before getting an omniscient knowledge, there is right belief of samyak darshan, and before that is our thought process, our decision making, and before that is the reading of the scriptures. So we are still doing the first part. Of course, the rest of will automatically come when we move ahead in the right path, So these Tirthankars and Siddh Bhagwan, those who got liberated, they were also like us at some point of time. But by putting in efforts in the right direction, by listening to the masters, they manifested those sentiments in them and they have got liberated. Similarly, we can also get liberated, and how fast we can be liberated. I shared a clip a few days ago, that it can be in the next birth itself. From here, you go and take birth in the Mahavidesh Kshetra, and there are always Tirthankars over there, always. It is always 4th era there. We are now in the 5th era, so there are no Tirthankars now. But from here, we take birth in that Mahavidesh Kshetra, and it is written in the scriptures only that 123 souls, they will go into that Mahavidesh Kshetra from here, Bharat Kshetra. We are in the Bharat Kshetra now. Like we say, no, that we are in India. Now somebody is in Taiwan, somebody is in USA. So we are all in different countries, different zones, different what we call space, But similarly, there is a one Bharat Kshetra where we are staying right now. And then there is a Videsh Kshetra, which is very far from here. But still, we can go there within 1 second, not even 1 second, before 1 second. A soul completes his life here, okay? And on death, he leaves this body and takes birth in another body in that place, in Videsh Kshetra, and that all takes just a fraction of second. So it can be that much fast. A soul can travel so fast, But until and unless we complete our age here, we are not going to move anywhere. We will be in this body only. This is our temporary residence, and then we will move on to the another residence. But we want to stop this cycle of birth and death. So we need to get liberated. And the path of liberation, main part is the path of liberation. Everybody wants to get rid of all the karmas. Everybody wants to get rid of all the miseries, all the grief, all the pains, all the agony that we are all experiencing in our life at some point or the other point. Not only this grief, but the passions which are going on always, some kind of passions, whether it is anger, pride, deceit, or greed. Some or one or the other pride will always go on, and this is denting our happiness, So to be not to be suffering from pain and agony and the misery and the grief, we need to be happy. Either you are happy or you are suffering from pain. There are two situations only in a life, Either you are happy or you are sad. There is no third way. So, to get rid of sadness, we need to be happy. And happiness, again, are of two types. One is the sensual pleasures that we have all experienced, and that is part of our day-to-day life, sensual pleasures. And then there is one more, which is the original, coming from the soul direct, and that is called non-sensual pleasures. Okay, so that is directly from the soul, and we are the soul. So we are a powerhouse of bliss, serenity, calmness, peace, infinite qualities. We are a mass of infinite qualities, But what is the use if we don't manifest it in our modification? Okay. So to get those things from the source to the modification, there is a process. And that process is what we are learning. And that process will not only learn it, but we are going to master it, in the 5 years. And by the time you complete this course, nobody on this earth, no objects on this earth, nothing in this earth can make you unhappy. We'll always find a way out to be happy, Now, considering a situation where you are in the last stage of your life, you are in a hospital, you are in an ICU bed, there is nobody who can come and, meet you. It is so strict. Now, you are alone there. Of course, there are staff, doctors, and everything, but you yourself is alone. Now, considering in those situations, there is a pain, pain in the body, and The body is not responding to the medicines, and your situation is getting day by day, it's worsening. It's not improving at all. And you are also uh, aged, maybe around 80. Okay. So now in this situation where everything is going against you, you can still be happy, because your connection with your happiness is the connection with your soul. And there is nothing that can stop, from enjoying, experiencing your happiness, because it is your nature. It is your nature. So nobody can separate you from your nature. Nobody can cause any hindrances in experiencing yourself. So still you are independent, and still you can enjoy in those moments. And the time will come, you will leave this body and you will get birth in another body. But the journey will continue. Whatever you have learned here, the tricks, the methodology, the process, all that you will be carrying with you yourself. But the wealth that you have created here, the money, your family, whom you consider your mine, your palace, your cars, and your other jewelry and assets, these are all going to be here. There is no way you can carry all this. When we are not carrying the body itself, what else do you expect us to carry? So you are alone here. You may feel that, oh, this is my family, this is my car, this is my house, this is my, reputation, this is my everything, whatever you consider. I am a CA, I'm a chart, I'm an MBA, I am an engineer, I'm a software engineer, I'm a businessman. You have many titles, you have acquired many titles, you have acquired many degrees, and you consider yourself to be that. But that is not your true identity. Your true identity is that you are a soul. Not only you, all the living beings of this universe, whole universe, are souls, all the living beings. The one who can know and see, the one who can experience pleasure and pain is a soul. We learned this definition in Balbodh 1, So the primary function of the soul is just to know. But that's all. You are an observer. Now, if you believe yourself to be an observer, you have the right knowledge. But if you feel that you are the doer of all these things, and you are managing these things, and you can alter these things, these are all delusions, wrong belief. Okay. So to get rid of those wrong belief and get the right belief, get the right knowledge and the right conduct is your path to liberation. So we are supposed to be passionless. This is the question of Madam May Chow. We are supposed to be passionless, yes, from one perspective, but it is not an absolute thing. If we would have been passionless absolutely, then there is no point in studying. Then we would have been very happy, just like the liberated souls. They are immensely happy, infinitely happy. But we don't know what is true happiness, the first part, and we believe the sensual pleasures is the true happiness. But that is not the true happiness. This is the fact. So we will be learning over a period of 5 years. Basically the first 3 years will be learning, and the next 2 years will be applications mostly. But to spend time with this kind of scriptures is something that is going to imbibe in us a habit, a habit to connect to this kind of knowledge. And with that thought process, we will be able to be experiencing happiness in all the situations. As I said, when I gave an example that you are in a hospital bed, ICU, nobody is coming to see you, and you are alone there, still you will be happy, because we are deriving our happiness from within and not from outside external factors.
So that's more like a peace and calm.
Yes, always. And that is our nature.
But
Now,
not a so-called happiness, right?
yeah. So that is our nature, you know. So what is our nature? That is our birthright. But because of delusion, we have never experienced true happiness. That is the fact, you know. Now we have the wealth, but if we don't have the key to the cupboard, how we are going to spend those wealth? How we are going to enjoy those resources, you know? So the key to happiness is the way that you can shift your active consciousness from outside pleasures to the soul. That transformation is your key to happiness. Now, how do I transform? Because I have a habit of looking outside. I have a habit to, see other things. I have a uh, great quest, I would say. I would have a great uh, curiosity to know, other things, you know. We want to read newspaper. We want to know how what is going on across the world. We want to know how much that fellow has acquired wealth, and you know how much he's enjoying, but he's not enjoying. Because the one who wants to enjoy real enjoyment, they need to connect to the self. And that process we are now learning, to get to the self. So they have enough money, Tata, Birla, Ambani, but they never have the time to go to a temple to pray to the God, you know. Now there are many gods. So don't confuse that all gods are same. The God in our tradition, we already learned that in chapter, Tirthankar and God, Bhagwan and Tirthankar. So you know who is a God? One who has manifested passionlessness, one who has manifested omniscience, and one who whose sermons are for the welfare of the people. They are the God, the Tirthankar, the Aryant, and of course the liberated soul. But we pay to the Tirthankar or the Aryant first, Namo Aryantanam, and then Namo Siddhanam. Why? Because, see, they are liberated soul. They don't have a body. So they cannot work for the welfare of other people, you know. But the Arihant, they are with body, and they are just like us. And they are propagating the path of liberation, And because of that, we are now have access to this kind of knowledge. So our potential is that we can also become God, and we will definitely become God. But it's a time lag, between realizing that thing and starting from here. The chief cause of our misery, or the chief cause of our grief, our pain, is this delusion. And delusion is wrong belief. So we have to get our belief correct. So to get the belief correct, we need to understand the facts. What is facts? So this journey will go on, and it is not something that is going to happen overnight. Of course, it may happen overnight. There is no denying about that. Like someone who has done so much of sadhana in his previous birth, okay, but for some reason he could not attain right belief in that birth. So now, if he comes here and takes birth in this fifth era, and he listens to one sermon, one sermon, and he recalls all those things, because he cannot recall as such, but he has this homework that he had done in that birth that is going to come handy with him. And this is something you may not be able to realize right now, but I'll give you an example to make it simple. Now, in a class, Janvi is a teacher. Janvi is a teacher in a school. Okay. She is teaching her profession. That is her profession. Now, there are, say, 40 students in a class. Okay. She is teaching 40 students in a class. But only one student comes first. Somebody comes second, somebody third, and someone may fail also. Now, why this disparity? Teacher is same, books are same, preachings are same, infrastructure is same, everything is same for each student. But still, someone can come first and someone cannot even pass. Why this disparity? Janvi, you only answer.
Because each one has their own ability to
Yes.
grasp it.
So one part is ability. What is the other part?
Each one's own way also, which decides.
We will say efforts, Yeah. So your way comes under the efforts only. So ability is different. That is one thing. And the next part is the efforts. Now, how much efforts you put in? Now, if you consider our group, this English batch, there must be around 40 students, I suppose, but how many are able to attend? And how many can catch up on recordings, And how many students are there? 45, okay? So people keep on joining, and then somebody doesn't connect on time, somebody forgets, and somebody has some other thing coming up right now. So it is very difficult to connect to this kind of studies. Now I will put another situation. Now somebody says that I'm giving you a concert to a ticket, this is the tickets to a concert. What is the concert? Like we are in India, so I would say Arijit Singh, Arijit Singh coming live in a stadium, everyone will reach half an hour before. Why? Now my question is why? Why do we do that? Even I would have done that. It's not that you are doing it. I will put myself also there, I would go half an hour before. Why? Good. Can anybody
Get the space.
Huh?
You can go ahead, you get the space, you have no
No, like there is a class here, and we have 45 students in this group, and how many are present today? 14, 14 including me. So there are 13 students attending this. Now why? So out of 45, 32 students, 32 students are not attending live. We can take, say, another 5 students or maybe 7, 8 students would be catching up on recording. They really want to attend the class today, but for some reason, they are not able to attend. Now, rest, they don't care. They registered. They themselves registered. It is not that we have gone to individuals and, put them in the group. It's not like that. They have themselves registered. They are in to different parts of the globe, worldwide. These are all going on. So now you can consider Miss Mei Chao. She's from Taiwan. Now somebody who is not a Jain, not a Jain, not an Indian, but still she could connect, and she is connecting every week. And not only connecting, she is thinking. She has so many questions coming up in his mind. So she's trying her best, to understand these concepts. And there are some people who are in India, they have access to all these, You are not closer to that, madam. You are going to acquire this right faith, right knowledge, and right conduct. And then it's not the death. We'll just change our, place. The soul never dies, and you are a soul, so you never die. We never die. Soul is eternal, and there is no beginning, there is no end. It is only thing that we are here in this mundane existence. From here, we may get liberated and go to Siddhalaya, moksha, but the soul will be the soul. Our infinite qualities will remain same. Not a single quality will go away. Not a single new quality will come. It will be as it is. Okay. So, in our previous births, we were into animal kingdom, we were into plant kingdom, we went to hell, we went to heaven, all sorts. There is not a place in this universe where we have not born. There is not a single substance in this universe with whom we have not been in contact with. And there is not a time, not a single time where we have not taken birth. So we have been wandering from time immortal. This is not the first time that we have gotten human birth. We have got human birth previously also, but we never got access to this kind of knowledge, the knowledge that is going to liberate us. So now all the factors have come in our favor. We have got birth here, we have got access to this knowledge, and we are fortunate to have a course, specialized course to train you on this. So all these are just because there is a fruition of your auspicious karma. You have done so much of good things in your earlier life that we have all got, access to this kind of knowledge. So that way we are very, very fortunate. We are, better off than all the people, the top 100, you can say, in this universe. The top 100 wealthy people in this universe, we are more lucky than them because they have some more objects with them than us. Tata, Birla, Ambani, they do have a private aircraft. Okay, so they have access to so many things, but they don't have access to this kind of knowledge. The knowledge that is going to liberate us, after this birth, if we don't have this knowledge, then we will go. We'll go in some other species, depending on the kind of sentiments that we have manifested in this birth. But that is not going to bring happiness to us. The main part is that we are learning to be happy in all situations. So now, even if I take a birth in a subhuman state, Tiryanj Gati, I may become an animal, I can become an elephant, I can become a tiger, I can become a lion, I can become a cow, I can become an ox, wherever I go, But still in that birth also, if I have done proper homework here, proper understanding, I'll be still happy in that situation. Because I have bound the karma, so I have to be there for a certain period. But during those periods, I can always connect to myself and enjoy that eternal bliss, the calmness, the peace, the serenity, everything. All the infinite qualities are at my disposal any point of time. So we are all very great, great human being, not human being, we are all great souls. Human being is again limited to this life, but we are all great souls who knows his identity. All the universe, all the people in this universe, all the living beings in this universe are all great souls. Nobody is inferior, nobody is superior. We are all equal with equal number of qualities, So we are all equal in that sense. But in terms of manifestation, in terms of our modification, we are all different. Just we coming back to that example that students with different ability and different efforts. Okay. So the whole conclusion we are coming to this discussion is that we have the potential. Now we will be learning this process, how to unlock that potential and experience this bliss, this nectar, and that is going to make you, that is going to take you beyond death, beyond life and death. That cycle will stop and you will be liberated for once and all. Will not come back to this universe, this mundane existence again, and that is our ultimate destination. Okay. So last week we were discussing, we had discussed about this 5 sins. Okay. Now we are going to have a PowerPoint presentation on that, and I will make you a co-host, Urja. Yeah. Okay. But I have also learned to share. Last week both of you were not there, and we had time last 10 minutes, but we could not share because I was not knowing. So now I have learned, and if in any case emergency, I can always do that. So you are now a co-host. Yeah.
So the WhatsApp messages, the WhatsApp documents that you've sent on PAP, those two?
Yeah, that one.
Okay.
So these are the slides. We already know that there are 5 kinds of sins: hinsa, jhoot, chori, kushil, and parigra. So these are slides in Hindi. Now, if anyone is trained about this, to convert it into English through Chat GPT, but I was just inquiring about it yesterday from my son. So he said you have to do one slides at a time individually, So it cannot be done at one time, So I think it will take some time. So if somebody could do it, it is for our benefit, Even Madam May can also understand. Yeah. So if somebody knows this technology and if you can really do it, it will be nice.
I can try.
Okay, so I will give you that responsibility, and how fast you can do it, you can see, and there is no compulsion as such. But even if we get it by next week, people will be happy, and we will again run through then once, so that is fine. So what you can do is you can run through passions. The next chapter that we were supposed to do was passions, but since you are able to do it, so you first do the I have shared that PPT also. So you first do on passions, okay? So that we will take up next week, okay? From that slides, it's an important chapter. So today we will be covering other chapters, which are very simple kind of chapters. So let's just run through this PAP, This is created by Srimati Sarika Vikas Chabra. So you may not be knowing, but I'll just give a brief introduction. So Vikas Chabra is Sarika ji's husband, and Vikas ji and Sarika ji both were working in US, and his elder brother Prakash ji Chabra and her wife. They all 4 were working in US in Microsoft and some other good multinational companies. Now they were already having this sanskar from their family, of Jainism, and but nowadays because of career and all, people do go abroad, and settle there because the kind of opportunities they get there is always good in terms of packages and all, which they cannot get here in India. Because India is a developing country and those countries have been developed. So there are good amount of resources there. They are very advanced. They have got advanced, better technologies. The atmosphere of work culture and all is very, uh, I would say of a very good quality. Everything is of very good quality. So people do go there, like people from villages move on to the cities. So similarly, everyone wants to be at the right, in the good place. So they also went to US, completed their studies there, further studies, and then they were working there. And then they thought that this much money is enough for us. So they left all this job and whatever they had assets there, and they sold it off and they came back to India for good. And they are not working right now. They are only into religion, studying, they are writing books and doing a lot of activities, and these slides also, they only have made it, So they are putting their time and effort for this kind of presentation. And how many people are going to be benefited by this? Like it's not about this time only, but coming times also people will be benefited by these kind of activities. So they are all very good scholars, very learned. So I cannot read the full text. Yeah, is it true that leaving your home country for work is also considered pap? Depends, what intention you have, what is your purpose. Now, somebody who doesn't have anything here and who doesn't get a chance here, if they are going, then it is good for them, But somebody who's having enough wealth here and everything, and even now, like in countries like US, UK, everywhere, there is a temple, there is a Jain temple everywhere. Now people have settled there and they have formed a group there and they have erected, established temples and other activities. So now it's more of a, global kind of things. So if you have access to temple there, then it doesn't matter whether you stay here or there. In fact, I have seen, I have completed one batch of USA. They joined in 2016, from where the Parmagam honors began. So they were the first batch kind of things. So I was teaching 3 batches at that point of time. One was USA batch, the other was the other batch, and the other one was in Ghatkopar. So all those 2 were live, Dadar and Ghatkopar. I used to go there every week and teach them. But this USA was online, from Zoom and something like that. So it is, I'm talking about 2016 now, right? So I had seen that those where people were very serious, US people, because they don't have easy access to this kind of things, So they really understood the value of these things and they were so sincere and always alert and always ready to do homework on time, submit assignments and ask questions. And, they really pushed me to, they had to satisfy their queries, So I realized that those people who don't have access to this kind of thing, they feel there is more value to this. And those people who have got this easily, they are not able to do that much. They're not able to put in that much effort. So these are all things there. But now we're talking about this Vikasji Chabda and his family. So they are doing a wonderful job and we are thankful. I also had a chat with them yesterday and I said, you are doing such a good thing that so many people, so many students who want to learn. So I asked them that whether you have done an English presentation on this. Okay, no, let it be Hindi, don't translate and let them understand these words, in Hindi. Yeah. So that was his suggestion. that they should learn these Hindi words also. Even if they are teaching, if they are understanding in English, is good, but still we would like them to know these words. So this was about the authors, and we wish them all good luck for creating this kind of study material for the welfare of all the seekers. Now let's move the slide. What is sin? पाप क्या है? दुख का कारण, cause of grief, cause of pain, cause of misery. बुरा कार्य. What is this बुरा कार्य? Bad things. बुरा कार्य is bad things, bad work. And the third part is जो जीव को बुरे रास्ते में डाल दे. So the cause is grief. Okay, it's a cause for the grief. It is a bad work, bad thing. And the third part is it takes you in the wrong direction. It takes you in a direction where your standard, your thought process, everything will be deteriorating. Okay. So body is also doing some karya on its own, just like you programmed a robot and it functions all the duties and everything whatever is programmed for. Similarly, our body is like a robot. It has been programmed. Okay. And that is working independently. And the soul is also independent. Soul is also working. Soul, every moment there is a new modification coming up in the soul. And the new modification coming up is actually the function of the soul. So soul is always on the move in terms of modification. But having said, it is not only always absolutely on move. There is some part of the soul which is not moving, okay, which is stationary, which is which never gets influenced, which is pure. So soul has two parts. One is the substance, the other one is modification. So substance is always static, dhruv, and modifications are always evolving and dissolving, evolution and dissolution. So both things happening simultaneously. So soul as a whole, it is stationary also, and at the same time it is moving also. It's moving means it's developing also. It's manifesting also every moment. Okay. So जो जीव को बुरे रास्ते में डाल दे. So this is pap. Sin is such a thing that it takes soul to the wrong direction or the bure, what I would say for bure karya, bure, wrong
Bad
direction, I would. Huh?
Bad action, right? Like wrong action.
Bad action, yeah, bad action is there. What I was looking for some good word. What could be?
Something that takes us down the wrong path.
That is true. Wrong path, so we have already said, but apart from that,
Inauspicious deeds.
inauspicious is also nearby, but the exact word would be, something that is detrimental to our welfare, something that is harmful, something that is taking us to gloom, I would say, taking us to our bad times. So you now understand what is bura karya and bura rasta. So this is sin. So sin takes us to it is a cause of pain, grief, and it takes us, it's a bad work, and it takes us in the wrong direction. That much only we can. Next. So there are 5 kinds of sins. Hinsa, Jhoot, Chori, Kushil, Parigra. Hinsa is violence. Jhoot is falsehood. Chori is theft. Kushil is adultery or unchastity. And Parigra is possession. Okay. So you know all the 5 words. Last week we have already done explanation. Next slide. Again, now we'll be explaining, they will be explaining the one sins at a time. So first one is hinsa, or the violence. This is one of the major sins because all other sins are because of this only. Okay. So those are variations of violence only. Okay. If you understand the true meaning of the violence now, last week we have already understood. So there are 2 divisions of violence. One is dravya hinsa, another one is bhav hinsa. Dravya hinsa is material violence, okay, and bhav hinsa is psychic violence. So in terms of matter violence, again it is divided into 2, self and non-self. Again, bhav hinsa is divided into 2, swa or par, self and non-self. Now we are coming on to the dravya hinsa. What is dravya hinsa? When you physically inflict pain on others, that is called dravya hinsa. Now you can see the pictures also. It's showing that one fellow is attacking another fellow, inflicting an injury onto them. He has a knife in his hand, किसी जीव को मारना, सताना द्रव्य हिंसा है, to kill somebody and harass somebody is all dravya hinsa, physical. Now next, bhav hinsa. Again it is, so the dravya hinsa of 2 types, self and non-selves. In the self, apne sharir ka ghat karna. So here the self does not mean the soul. The self means here the physical body that we are possessing. And apart from that body, everything else is par, non-self. Par ke sharir ka ghat karna, pida pahunchana, inflicting pains on others. That is par. Now moving on to bhav hinsa, or the psychic violence, anya ka dil dukhana, to make sad others people, to make other people sad. और अपनी आत्मा में उत्पन्न होने वाले मोह राग देश के परिणाम ही भाव हिंसा. So the second part was very important. अपनी आत्मा में means in our own soul, उत्पन्न होने वाले manifestation, what? Moh, rag, dvesh. So first one is moh, delusion. So delusion is the chief cause of our committing sins. Because of our wrong belief, we believe that we are going to get happiness from getting into this kind of activities. And so we get involved in those kind of activities. And just because our belief is wrong, so all the subsequent results are all wrong. So that is delusion, moh. Then rag is attachment, and then dvesh is aversions. Okay, so you remember these 3 words very always. You remember, you should by heart. Moh is delusion, rag is attachment, dvesh is aversion. Okay, so this kind of a manifestation is psychic violence. Violence at the mind level, we can say, So the manifestations that are happening in at the mind level, at the modification level, delusion, attachments, and aversions. These are the actual violence. So when you commit a theft, it is again a violence, because a theft cannot be committed without this feeling of attachment and aversions, and because of delusion, So these three are always there: moh, rag, dvesh. So you consider theft, or you consider falsehood. When can you talk false? Only when you have this moh, rag, dvesh. Okay. So again, it is a bhavinsa. So falsehood is a bhavinsa or a violence, and theft is also a violence. Now coming to the fourth one is adultery. So adultery is again a type of feeling. 1 minute. What is this? It is due to our attachment. We are saying something harsh that is beneficial for our loved ones with good intention, but they feel hurt for it. Is it hinsa? So I would, elaborate on this example, that suppose a mother is scolding his small kid, 5 years, and he's always playing, and even if mother calls him for, take lunch and have fruits and dinner and nasta, whatever it might be, he's not coming because he's interested in that game. And then the mother not only scolds him, he's not listening. So she gives her a thrashing, So that thrashing is not a hinsa, because the mother wants to do, his mother is looking at the welfare of the kid. He wants his kid to eat on time so that he can be healthy, and he doesn't fall ill, and he develops those vitamins and minerals that is body requires. And if he doesn't take his food on time, he will suffer. Okay, so we cannot call it a hinsa. So there is, if you have marked in the definition, so dukke karan, bura karya. So this is not a bura karya. This is a good karya. This is the responsibility of a mother. So he's doing good for his kid. So it is not a bura karya. So it is not pap, it is not hinsa. But again, it is a rag. Why is doing for his own kid? Why is not doing for the neighbor's kid? Just because he has attachment to his kid, and she doesn't have an attachment to the neighbor's kid. So that is the difference. So it is again a kind of hinsa, but not the one that we are looking at, the 5 kinds of hinsa. So there are some part of knowledge which is at a very elementary level. And then if we go at an advanced level, the picture that we get is something different. So it depends whether you are looking at an elementary level or you want to go deep. So at an elementary level, it is not hinsa. But if you go deep, again, it is a rag. So it is a hinsa. Moh is a delusion. Basically, moh is delusion, wrong belief, wrong understanding. And because of this, greed rises. So all the 4 passions, the chief cause is the delusion. And in case of sins also, the chief cause is delusion. So it is delusion, delusion, delusion. Once we get rid of delusion, then we are on the path of happiness. So delusion only can go by correct understanding. So we are understanding. Okay. Next. So स्व और पर भाव हिंसा, अपनी आत्मा को कसाई से दुखी करना So when we manifest passions, our soul becomes unhappy. And par ki atma ko dukhi karna. So when you inflict pain on others, then it is again a bhav hinsa. Now we'll skip this. Skip it. Next. This also you skip.
I've translated the document. I found an app, so I've done it for PAP. Should I share?
Oh yeah, so fast.
I found an app, so I just did it.
Good, good, good. Share it. So I'll make you co-host 1 minute. Huh? So this is something, only the youngsters can do this thing.
I'm not sure. Oh, yeah, I found it. Yeah.
1 minute. Huh? Yeah.
It's yeah. 1 second.
Even if there are mistakes, we will rectify it. Don't worry. So this we are skipping. Next. So you can start from the beginning. We'll just revise it again. Sin, yeah, very good. What sin? Cause of sadness. Great work, not a great work, a bura karya,
Yeah.
bad work. So what we'll do is, we'll run through this the next time. You correct it, okay?
Yeah.
Because if it's
There
if
are
you've done something wrong, then it's very difficult to get the right thing, So
Yes.
we'll take it next time. Just close it and we come back to our original Hindi slides.
जिया जी आपने कौन सा ट्रांसलेशन यूज किया था चैट जीपीटी
No, I found some other AI.
Oh,
Okay.
there are other apps also. Okay, good try, So, to think so much and actually try it, experiment it. These are all very special talent, and the youngsters are very good at this. So this jhoot, the next is jhoot. Jhoot is falsehood. जैसा देखा जाना हो वैसा ही न कहकर अन्यथा कहना झूठ है. So some facts that and you also say as per that, you don't say as per that. Like if you have seen an elephant and you say that it is a tiger, so that is jhoot. Okay. So जैसा देखा जाना हो वैसा न कहकर, if you don't say what you have seen, then it is a falsehood. So falsehood is something that we can express only by by our speech only. So this is something that we can convey through speech only. So hinsa, jhoot. Then the next one. So again, jhoot is of two types, at the material level or the physical level and at the psychic level. So all those which are at psychic level, they are directly related to the soul, and the dravya part is, of course, Pudgal dravya. It's a function of matter substance. Next. Yeah, chori. So again, chori is of two types, theft. One is the physical theft that you do it, taking some things from without, informing them. Now, in a class, there are 40 students. So all brings their rubber, pencil, whatever. Now you have forgotten to take your rubber to school today. So what you do? Your friend was busy in writing, you just pick up the rubber. And you don't return also. So by the time he finishes his work and in between he needs that rubber. Now he's looking here and there, he's not getting that rubber. Then he has something in his mind, that I must have forgotten to bring from home, such and such things come up. So all this manifestation is a violence in him, and you have become a cause of violence to him. So that is exactly bhav chori. Theft at the psychic level. This is theft at the psychic level. So you must ask, or either you should inform that I am taking your rubber. So then he would not have been in any kind of problem, tension, nothing. So you should always ask before taking it. So this is at a very kids level, but nowadays people do theft of taxes, people do theft of their duties, responsibilities. Everywhere there is a theft. There are different forms of theft. Now the theft have become so advanced. You every day in the newspaper you can see that certain people try to cheat somebody on the ATM, and there are cyber frauds going on now. They siphon off money from your bank accounts, by in the disguise of saying that they are bank's staff, and they want this password to upgrade your credit card, and your credit card will become invalid, and many false things they say, and they try to steal money from, and that is now increasing. This kind of thefts is increasing. In earlier days, there used to be a physical theft, the dacoits and all used to come and rob people. But nowadays, there's cyber crimes are going up like anything, and within a fraction, they can siphon off your crores of rupees, whatever you have in your bank accounts. So these kind of crimes are increasing. So even the banks and the RBIs all keep on informing people. They run a show, or run a what we call some presentations. Always they advertise it, and everywhere they just alert people that don't fall into false promises, never share your password. So all this can stop these cyber crimes. So now modern thefts are of different types. Now adultery. So adultery is not looking at in a wrongful manner. It is again consumption of porns, internet through, and all adult movies and all. These are all forming part of kushil. Urjaji, next slide. Yeah. So again, kushil is of two types: dravya kushil and bhav kushil. So dravya kushil is the physical kushil that actually you do through your body, and the bhav kushil is the psychic kushil. It is all at the thought levels, some unwanted thoughts coming independently also at some point of time in a person's life, So these are all kushil. Adultery. Next, last one. So there are some stories on kushil: Yashodhar Raja, Rakta Rani, Mangi ki Katha, Charudat. So I know about Yashodhar Raja. This story I don't know. I know only one story out of these four, that is Charudat. So he was a son of a king, and he was a Jain, and his father was a very religious people. Although he was a king, but he was very religious. But his son got into bad company, this Charudat, and he formed all these bad habits. He acquired these bad habits. So his father scolded him, warned him, but he was not ready to listen, So he was a king also. So what he did, he turned him out of his house. He turned him out of his what you call village or city. But since he had all developed these bad habits, so he started stealing, and somehow he was managing all his passions. So then he came in contact with a prostitute. Her name was Vasant Tilka, and he was madly in love with her, and here the parents were worried. They never wanted to turn him out, but they thought, if I turn him out, he will mend his ways, and he will become again a good person. So they sent him a message that your father is ill, your father has died. But Charudat was so much involved in his passions, that he never responded, and suddenly the wealth got finished, and that Vasant Tilka, the prostitute, she left him, because she was concerned with wealth only. So now Charudat had no wealth, so she left him, and he got then somehow he got in touch with a monk, and then he realized his mistake, and then he mended ways, and he became again a good person. So all our Pratman story ends in that the protagonist, the main character, they should get liberated in the end. So Charudatta also got liberated in the end. So this is the whole story about adultery. So there are some very good learnings that we get from this kind of stories, the turnaround, we can say, in our life. So those stories inspire us. The last one of the sins is parigraha, possession, and pari means charo aur se, from all angles or four angles, and graha means grahan karna, adapt, sangrah karna, accumulate. So whatever you require, what are your requirements, that is enough. Up to that level you can have possession, but beyond that is all going into the account of sin. So people feel happy that their wealth is increasing, but nobody realizes that they are committing a sin. Parigrah paap hai. Possession is a sin. It is very difficult to realize. So there are some sins going on in our life because we never know that these are sins. So as we study, we will realize that if you require, say, 10 dresses, then you keep 15. But you at least don't keep 100, no? There was this chief minister of Tamil Nadu, I suppose. I'm just guessing it. Her name was Jaya Lalita. He used to have 2,000 chappals and 2,000 sarees, and she had all these possessions. So that is parigrah. So, but minimum what you require, that you can keep. Officially you can keep. That is not coming into the sin. But beyond that, all these are a part of sin, and those are going to inflict pain on you. Those are going to bind inauspicious karmas, and then when those karmas come into fruition, you will suffer a lot. So these were all about these 5 sins. We will run through this again next week when Jia comes up with the corrections of all what she has translated today just now. Thank you very much, Jia, and thank you very much, Urjaji. Next, Dravya Parigrah and Bhav Parigrah. Again, I get 2 levels. One is material possession like dhan, dhanya, khet, makan, sona, chandi, gold, silver, your cars, and your whatever you possess. And bhav parigra. Bhav parigra is very important. It's a kind of feeling, the feeling of mindness. This is mind. पर पदार्थों को अपना मानना. पर पदार्थ is other materials, okay? To believe that these other materials are mine. So that is at the feeling level, your understanding and your feeling that other things are mine is called the real possession or the psychic possession. So all the passions and delusion, these are all parigra, internal possessions, So delusion is the number one possession, and because of delusion, the passions arises. So you can see antarang and bahirang. So antarang are this. Number one is what you can take to the next slide. Yeah. So first one is 10, that is bahirang, your plot and everything. And then there is bahirang, not the antarang. Next slide. Yeah, you can see mithyatva, delusion. Then 4 kashai, four possessions, krodh, man, maya, lobh. Then we have hasya, rati. Hasya is laughter. Rati, arati. Rati is affection. Arati, non-affection. Shok. Shok is
Morning.
no. Shok means
Grief. Grief.
Yeah, grief.
Grief.
it is a grief, but
Grief.
shok means that feeling of
Mourning.
yeah, morning is again a shok only, but I'll leave it now. I'll not recall that word. So shok, bhai is fear. Jugupsha is glani, that undesirable feeling. You don't want some kind of possessions, So these are all internal possession. And then there is 3 Ved, like the cravings for, the cravings for woman, cravings for man, and cravings for Napunsak is what? Eunuch and all. So this type of cravings, all 3 types of cravings are all these a part of passions and also a part of possession, internal possession. So 14 internal possession, out of which 13 are passions and 1 is delusion. And delusion is the number 1 sin, you can say, because under the influence of delusion, we get indulged in other kinds of sins. Next slide.
I'm still not sure what is the difference between antarang and bahirang.
So antarang is internal possession and bahirang is external possession. So your car, your dresses, your jewelry, whatever your external possessions are there, these are called external possession, okay? And internal possessions are at a feeling level. Now delusion. So delusion is directly related to your belief system, okay? So this is internal possession. Then the passions, krodh, man, maya, lobh. So all these are kinds of feelings that you experience, So these are internal possession. Yeah. Understood, Jia? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Parigra mein prasidh. So there are these stories. So I know Lubdak said stories, and only know one of these stories, but there is no time right now. Next, पापों से छूटने का उपाय क्या है? So this is very important for us, and the chief cause is delusion and passions. ठीक है? If those doesn't rise in our manifestation, then we are not manifesting sins. Next slide. Or is this complete? मिथ्यात्व किसे कहते हैं? So two chief cause, delusion and passions. So this is about delusion, wrong belief. Next. Now, which is the biggest of the sin? Delusion. Next. Why delusion? There is no name of delusion in the 5 sins. Next. Because under the influence of delusion, the soul commits these other kinds of sins. So, delusion is the biggest sin. Now, how do you get rid of delusion? जो वस्तु जैसी है उसका जो स्वरूप है उसको उस रूप ही मानने पर मिथ्यात्व छूट जाएगा. So with correct understanding, the delusion goes away. And for correct understanding, we need to acquire the right knowledge. And that is what we are studying scriptures for. Next, or this is the end. So this is the other slide. Leave it. So this is about passions. Okay. So our chapter on 5 sins is complete. We will still be covering 5 sins. I think there are some references in Chhe Dala, and there are some references in Purshat Siddhi Upay. So we'll be touching this topic again and again. But worldwide, this is the problem. 5 sins is the problem. And to get rid of 5 sins, a soul becomes happy. So we move on to the next chapter, not the next chapter. We'll skip this chapter of passions because next week our slides will be ready. So it will be better when we study that. We'll move on to the next chapter, good conduct. Page number 15. So this story is a small story, we'll just read through. So there are 3 stories in this chapter. The first story is about a obstinate boy, Jiddi. Okay. So he, just because he was not only obstinate, okay, obstinate means stubborn, adamant, or a better word would be cranky. The babies nowadays are very cranky. They want something, or then they will start crying and they will not stop until that they get that thing. So these are all the synonyms of obstinate, stubborn, adamant, and cranky. So this boy was obstinate. He was also greedy of eating and drinking. He used to fight with his brothers and sisters over trifling things. His mother used to give him good lessons, but he did not listen to her. So, what is this question? Let me just check. So the first message that is that if you seeing others' possession, and if you develop that feeling, that this possession should come to me. Okay. So there are 2 types of feeling. One is that I should also have this kind of thing. and the other is that that particular thing should come to me. So the first, that particular thing should come to me is bhav chori, and you should have similar kind of possession, that is a greed. So you see the difference between greed and your theft. Why is parigrah a pap? Parigrah is a possession, and that feeling of mindness is actual psychic possession. Okay. So it is not about stealing. Parigrah is not about stealing. It is about getting possessions. Now, as I said, you require, say, 10 dresses, to support your lifestyle that is going through you right now. Or we can say that you may require 20 dresses, 30 dresses, 40 dresses. But if you keep 1,000 dresses, then it's a possession. So that's why it is a pap. So why you conduct a pap is just because the influence of delusion. What were the other messages? One minute. These are all read. Something I read just now, and yeah, now this one. So how do I read this message? That is motivation. Okay. Okay. So coming to that chapter of good conduct. So there are 3 small stories. So we were just reading the first story. So let's finish first reading 3 stories, then I will summarize, So Roshni ji, I would like you to read. You have the textbook with you, or Urja ji, you can share this
Yes.
barcode part 2,
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, should I read from the beginning, from good
Yeah,
conduct?
from the beginning.
Okay,
So which chapter, Balu?
Good conduct.
4.
Lesson 4. Page 15. Yeah, you carry on.
Okay, I start. Okay, this is a meeting of the students of 4th class. One of the boys occupies the chair. President, rising. Shantilal will now tell us a story. Shantilal, standing near the table. Respected President, class fellows and sisters, as desired by the President, I shall tell you an instructive story. I hope you will listen to it quietly. There was a very obstinate boy. He was also greedy of eating and drinking. He used to fight with his brothers and sisters over trifling things. His mother used to give him good lessons, but he did not listen to her. One day, there were some sweet dishes in the mess. The mother distributed the sweets among her children equally. All of them were happy and ate them, but this boy began to complain that his share of sweets was smaller than those of the others. The others had by then cleared their dishes, which could not now be changed. Overpowered with anger, he began to cry aloud and threw his dish. He went and rested in a corner of the room and did not take anything throughout the day. Everybody tried to persuade him to have peace and take his meals, but he was proud also, and so he did not listen to anybody. There was a scorpion in that corner of the room, and it bit him. He got punished for his behavior. He remained hungry throughout the day, was already deprived of the sweet dish which he had thrown away, and was bitten by the scorpion. Angry, proud, greedy, and obstinate boys have to face such situations in life. Therefore, we should not feel angry, proud, or greedy, and should not be obstinate. So saying, I occupy my seat. Loud clapping. President, Shantilal has told us a very instructive story. Now I request Nirmala to let the class have some useful information. Nirmala, standing near the table. Respected President, brothers and sisters, I have not come here to deliver a lecture. I read something in a newspaper and want to relate that to you. A marriage party arrived in a village. Food was being cooked for the party in the night. It was dark all around, and a snake fell in the boiling vegetables. The party dined in the night. However, there were 4 or 5 persons who did not take food in the night. Everybody ridiculed these 4 or 5 persons by calling them very religious and ready to go to heavens directly. But alas, it so happened that after dining, people began to fall unconscious. Those who wanted to send others to heavens themselves began preparations to go there. The 5 gentlemen sent all of them to the nearby hospital, where the lives of about half the number was saved. Had these 5 also partaken of the meals during the night, not a single soul could remain alive. The lesson is that we should not take our meals during the night. So saying, I take my seat. A scholar. Sister Nirmala, is this the only evil of eating in the night? President, standing. Take your seat. You do not know the decorum of a meeting. Nobody should speak while discussion is in progress. If there is something very important, one should take permission from the chair and then speak. Now that the question has been put, I ask Nirmala to answer it. Nirmala, standing. I have pointed out the outstanding evil of eating at night. In reality, eating at night involves intensity of attachment towards food and is a hindrance in the spiritual progress. President, Nirmala has drawn our attention to a very important matter. Let us all decide not to take our meals at night. Many members want to participate in the discussion, but we are already late, so I want to be excused. We shall hear these members in the next meeting. I do not want to impose a lecture upon you, but I want to tell you one thing. About 8 days back, I accompanied my father to Calcutta. We happened to see the scientific laboratory there. There I saw with my own eyes that water which appears quite neat and clean has lakhs of living beings in it when seen through a microscope. I have, therefore, resolved not to drink unfiltered water. I also request you to decide always to drink filtered water only. So saying, I declare the meeting closed. The meeting comes to an end, and amidst cries of victory to Lord Mahavir.
So you see, there were 3 stories. The first one was about that obstinate kid. So the takeaway here is that one should not be obstinate, one should not be angry, greedy, proud, So if you have one bad quality in you, then the other qualities also automatically, bad qualities also come to you. So this was about a kid, obstinate kid. So from right from childhood only, we should teach kids to be, very generous, disciplined, obedient, So if he would have been obedient, he would have listened to his mother's instruction, but he never listened to his mother's instruction. So he also couldn't get his share of the sweets, and at the same time that scorpion also he also suffered a bite from the scorpion. So one punishment that he got, he remained hungry throughout the day. The second is he was deprived of the sweet dish which he had thrown away, and the third one was he was bitten by the scorpion. So the last line, angry, proud, greedy, and obstinate boys have to face such situations in life. So if you misuse whatever you have got in your life, then you get this kind of fruition of your past karmas, and you actually suffer. So one should not be greedy. One should not have this kind of passions in them. The next story is about we should not consume food in the night. After sunset, in the atmosphere itself, small creatures automatically, comes up. So if we have food after sunset, we will be causing those violences, and because of those violences, we will be not able to, get rid of delusion and our passions. So this is a discipline that we have in our Jainism, that we don't eat food after the sunset. Even we don't drink water after the sunset. So we should finish our dinner and whatever we want to consume just before sunset. So that was an inspiration for that. Being a Jain, we should follow this minimum things, three things are very fundamental to a Jain. One is Dev Darshan. The second one is not eating food after sunset. And the third one is we should always use filtered water. We filter water through a cloth, putting it across, and after the filtering of the water is done, we do jinwani. Jinwani means to put in some water on that cloth, filter cloth, to whatever the jeeves remaining there, the living beings remaining there at the surface, that will all go washed away. So we should always have filtered water. Filtered water means filtered through our process, not the RO and the AquaGuard and that people use, because we have a proper way of filtering water and we should follow that. So these three stories inspired us to adopt this kind of lifestyle, and that is a discipline that we should follow. This is not religion, but it's a discipline that you should understand. But sometimes, because of delusion, people think discipline to be an activity of the religion, which is not correct. But because of delusion, such misunderstanding always will go on. So to get rid of delusion is our first duty. From each and every chapter, we come back to that same conclusion, that we should get rid of delusion. Now, still we have 24 minutes of time, so we will complete this next chapter. It's again a small one, Phases of Life. And after that, we will come to substance, which is again a very important chapter. So next week, both chapters will be very important. And of course, we will again run through that slides of sins also. So all three chapters will be very important. And then we will understand this Bhagwan Mahavir's life, and then the last prayer. So still a long way to go, and but we are not in a hurry to get through. I'm taking some time to, not only making you understand what is there in this textbook, but apart from that, I am trying to impart in you some knowledge about the, something that are related to this kind of teachings. not exactly the teachings, but something related to this. So at least you should understand the purpose of each thing, our whatever sermons the Tirthankar gave and whatever interpretations the Gandhar had of it, and then Gandhar, they pass on it to the Acharyas, and from Acharyas to other monks, and to monks to scholars, and to us through this Jinwani, we have got lot of information. But we should also learn how to interpret this information so that we get rid of our delusion and we are able to enjoy our eternal bliss and get into the path of liberation and then ultimately getting liberated. So all these are something or the other way related to our path of liberation. So now we move on to this chapter of phases of life. So there are 4 broad phases, human being, that what we are in right now. Then there is a hellish being just below the earth. There are 7 layers, and that is where the hellish being lives. And then there is a heaven, and there the heavenly being lives. And then there is one more subhuman state, Tiryanch Gati, It comprises of animal kingdom, the whole of animal kingdom, and the whole of plant kingdom. So even plant have life, and there were some chats I missed, but let me finish this story and then I'll come back to the questions again, So these are 4 phases of life, and there are specific reason to get this kind of birth, So we will be also learning about the specific reason so that we don't commit such crimes, such sins, and we don't get those kind of phases of life. So 4 phases of life, specific reason to get into that birth, and of course this 4 in these 4 phases of life, there is miseries everywhere, So not a single phase of life is good for us. So we should be looking at liberation. That is the 5th kind of life, and that is what we should look at. All these 4 lives, of course, human beings are better than other lives, Here you have got an opportunity to get out of this vicious circle of birth and death. So in that sense, it is better than the other 3, but still the human beings has his own kind of sufferings. So to get into the path of liberation and actually get liberated, that should be our goal. But still we would learn 4 phases of life because we have been wandering into these 4 phases every now and then, The soul never dies. It keeps on changing its body. So these are the 4 phases of life where we have taken birth again and again, and we never understood the nature of soul, and because of that we were transmigrating from one phase of life to another phase of life. And now we want to stop this transmigration. So we are understanding these concepts. So let's know these phases of life so that we avoid those mistakes and we move into the right path. Who would read? Roshni ji, you try. No, you just recently read. Now somebody else. Rita ji.
Okay, I can read.
Yeah.
Phases of life, Son. Father, today I heard in the temple that our souls experienced extreme miseries in the 4 phases of life. What are these 4 phases of life, wherein there are only miseries and fortunes? Father,
Misfortunes.
sorry, misfortune, sorry. Father, phase of life means particular state of being. In this world, living creatures are found in the 4 phases of life. When this being recognizes one's soul and exerts to attain it, he is freed from the miseries of all 4 phases of life and obtains the immortal phase of the Supreme Being. That is called the 5th phase of life. Son, what are the 4 phases of life? Father, men, animals, residents of hell, and the gods, that is, heavenly beings. Are we not men? The son asks. Father, we are in the human phase of life and so are called men. That way, all of us are living beings. When any living creature is born in the human phase of life, that is, when he obtains the human form, he is called a man. Son, well, so we are creatures of human phase of life. To what phase of life cows, buffalo, horses, etc. do belong? Father, they are all animals: earth, water, fire, air, vegetables, insects, elephants, horses, doves, peacocks, and other animals and birds that you see are all included in animal life. When one takes birth in this phase of life, one is called an animal. Son, when all creatures except men are animals who are the residents of hell. Father, underneath this world of ours are 7 hells. The atmosphere therein is very distressful. There is intense heat that burns the bodies of the hellish being and extreme cold that can melt their bodily frames. There are no food and drink there. Hellish creatures have to bear the sufferings of terrible hunger and thirst. They are passionate creatures, always fighting with each other and killing one another. Creatures who take birth in such hell are called hellish creatures. Son, what of gods? Father, being are rewarded with such phases of life according to their inner feelings. They are phases where such beings are born accordingly to their conduct in previous lives. Creatures with sinful conduct are born in hells. Likewise, those who possess holy feelings are born in heavens. In these heavens, God enjoy all sorts of pleasures. They are creatures of heavenly phase of life. Son, what is a good phase of life? Father, you have already been told that all the 4 phases of life are full of miseries and misfortunes. How can there be then a good phase of life? All the 4 are worldly existence. Leaving this, the liberated souls reach the 5th phase of Supreme Being, which is completely happy state of life. Son, why not call a human phase of life good? For from this phase one attains complete liberation of the soul from the worldly bondage. Okay, Father, if this was so, why did the Siddhas leave this also? The best thing is to shun the circle of births and deaths altogether. Son, when it is desirable not to move in this circle of birth and death, why does this creature wander in this phases of life? Father, when one commits a sin, one has to bear the consequences. Son, what sins lead to different phases wherein one is born? Father, too much entanglement in worldly possessions is such an evil that one has to take birth in hells. Deceitful and fraudulent feelings lead to one to animal life. Son, what about human and godly phases of life? Father, ordinary entanglement and attachment in worldly possessions and simplicity of ideas lead to the human phase of life. Likewise, partial attachment in good and bad attitudes, along with abstinence and partial abstinence and mild passions, are always religious austerities, followed without proper understanding, lead to the phase of heavenly life. Son, if all the above tendencies are false, what is the faultless state of our being? Father, the attitude of complete detachment is faultless state, and that leads to complete liberation of soul. What is the good of knowing all this? Father, we know that all the four phases of life are full of miseries and misfortunes, not happiness. Our good as well as bad tendencies are the reasons of our wanderings in this circle of life. Complete detachment is the only way to liberation. To achieve this state, we must adhere to our all-knowing soul.
So, a life phase is the particular state of life of a living entity. A being obtaining a human form is a human phase. A being born in an animal form is an animal phase of life. We call it subhuman. Subhuman is a good word. Instead of animal, we should subhuman, because plants are also having a life that is even discovered by scientists also. So science has also discovered that. So we should include animal and plant together. So that is a good word would be subhuman state. Tiryanch gati. Human gati is Manushya Bhav, then hellish. Hellish is Narak. So a being born in hell is hellish being. A being born in the heavens, Swarg mein, these are called godly phase of life. So what is the takeaway? By knowing all these four, we can come to that conclusion that all these four phases of life are full of miseries and misfortunes, not happiness. Our good as well as bad tendencies are the reasons of our wanderings in this circle of life. Complete detachment is the only way to liberation. To achieve this state, we must adhere to our all-knowing soul. So we should take shelter in our soul so that we get rid of delusion, we get rid of attachments, and we get rid of aversions. And if we get rid of all these things, we will be liberated. So not a single phase is good for us. All the four phases of life has its own problems, but comparatively human form is better than the other three, because it is through this human form and human life that we get liberated. So from the point of view of getting liberated, all the four phases are not worth getting into it. And from the point of view of doing our good is the human life. Now, what are the causes of getting birth in this kind of four phases? So first one was about if you indulge in intense
Yes, sir.
I think sir's screen is frozen.
Yes.
Okay.
So it has got disconnected, क्या?
ऐसा ही लग रहा है.
Yeah, I'll just check with him. Give me a moment. Yeah, there's some internet issue on his hand. He's just joining.
Thank you for checking.
Yeah.
Jai Nandra. Sorry, I got my internet connection went away. So I've joined through mobile. 1 minute. You can still continue. Hello, can you voice?
Yeah,
Yes, sir,
we
you're
can hear
audible.
you.
We can hear you.
Yeah. Okay, fine. So we were into the last part only, and suddenly the internet connection I didn't know how to repair it. Okay, so let's end this class, and the last discussion that we're going on is what the causes of getting into each. Okay. So we talked about what state or the state, uh, so, uh,
Your voice is breaking.
of my voice is breaking. Okay, now
Yeah,
now
now
is
better.
okay.
Yes.
Okay, so so that was about subhuman state. Then we discussed about uh, the person who indulges in intense anger, they get into hell. Okay, so that was the second. The third one was heavenly beings. The person who has intense greed, you know, they get into this heavenly being. And the last one was subhuman state. You know, subhuman state means not subhuman state, the human state. You know, manushya bhav. So alpa arambha, alpa parigrah. Now, what is this alpa arambha? Alpa means little bit, small amount of, and arambha is sinful activity. So the one who gets minimum gets into minimum sinful activity, and also have minimum possession. Alpa arambha, alpa parigrah. Okay, so minimum sinful activities and minimum uh, possessions leads to a human life. So in our previous birth, we must have indulged in minimum sinful activities and minimum possessions, so that we have got this human life. So there are causes. These are very general statements, you know, but then there are a lot of other factors which also go into uh, which are also counted, you know, when you are taking a birth in a next life. So there are many factors, but these are general causes. This has been given in Tattvat Sutra scriptures. So from there it has been picked up. So the conclusion is that any of the phases of life are not good. You know, there are miseries and pain in each and every phases of life, and this has been best described in Chaydala Granth. So when we read Chaydala, we will have a very detailed understanding of what are the sufferings that one have in each phases of life. So with this, we end this chapter and also today's class. But then I would like to attend some of the questions that were asked on the chat. And so for those who are getting late, they can leave the class. They can just recite 9 times Namokar mantra and leave. Others who have questions, they can still remain in the class, and I will be answering that questions. Okay. So the first one was about something on the filtering of water. Even if we filter through that cloth, that does all the living
So your voice is cracking.
Okay. So our Tirthankars, they have given us this knowledge to enter and the now these 4 ways are Pratano, when people next one is Jnana Yug. Jnana Yug, when